So Texas Tech is leaving the Big 12 with the ACC. Well, that was the prevalent rumor. And is this monster deal still just as bad as we all thought it was? This is the Dose Grande Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Oh, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Dose Grande Squad. Drake Toll with you from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. This is Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State, Philip Mulford of Locked On Sun Devils, Parker Ainsworth of Locked On Cougs, talking all things Houston. We are small, but we are mighty, and many will join us over the course of the next half hour where we talk all things high-level Big 12, including your team. Yes, your team, even you, UCF. Somewhere in there, we'll find a way to mention you. If you hit subscribe, we all get to keep our jobs. We will start with the storylines from Big 12 Media Days that have carried over a week later. We have a week to sit through this monster deal and whether or not it's good for the Big 12. We've had a week to talk Utah and private equity and where that's going. We've had a week to think about Willie Fritz, this little briefcase, just walking around Big 12 Media Days like, hey, y'all, it's Willie Fritz here. Good to see you. And plenty more to get to. But the popular story in the Locked, we have a group chat. Come on, we're all friends. We have a group chat. And the popular headline this week, a source close to the situation, I don't know, name rhymes with Kiss Devil, who is pretty high up at Texas Tech.
You say that on BYU show?
You're right. I shouldn't say Kiss Devil. Honor code violation. Don't do that. No one do that, especially premaritally. All right. He's done. He's off. This cat has told me all these Flatland sports rumors about Texas Tech to the ACC are a farce, and that is not remotely happening. I just want to know where the rumor started that Texas Tech would ever go to the ACC.
It's gotta be some the amount of people on Twitter, like you've been on sports Twitter in the last 2 months that are so bent out of shape that Texas Tech had their feet held to the fire over the Sorsby thing. And the fact that, oh no, they're still getting, they're not getting, they're getting sued, but Big 12 just wants to be able to enforce their own rules. And that's the conference turning on us, man. Oh, I can't. We are the preeminent. We are the biggest brand in the Big 12. And how dare they, hold us to account? We got to go find another conference. Rumors are that it's ACC. They've been talking to the SEC, the Big 10, whoever will take them. And it's got to be someone in the big Texas Tech Twitterati. I know if I summon this enough, we're going to go and leave the conference that doesn't deserve us.
Well, and the deal with ACC to me is it's the biggest one that's not an obvious no. The SEC is going to say no.
Oh, yeah.
The Big 10. And back when Houston first got into the Big 12, I did a whole deal about could you ever get to the Big 10? The Big 10, with the exception of Nebraska, actually has fairly strict academic standards across the board. And Tech, I'm not saying is super far off, would probably need to do some work there to get into the Big 10. I think the Big 10 could make a move into Texas at some point. That's a later date, but so they're not a Big 10 school. The ACC is just kind of next. And honestly, this again feels like Lubbock fan or Lubbock Twitter that is just upset with the Big 12 as a whole right now. I think that's all this is coming from.
I've had some reasonable Tech fans in my comment section that are like, hey, normal guy 837 here. Yeah, we're pretty upset with how it all went down. We're kind of upset with our administration. We're kind of upset with the Big 12. We're not in a place where anybody wants to be. What do we to be happy about out of the whole thing, right? What do we as Tech fans have been drugged through the mud. Our reputation has been ruined according to 15 different Big 12 fan bases, and the conference commissioner is suing us. How are we supposed to win in any of this? I know a lot of really good Tech fans, and I understand Cody Campbell is this loud, boisterous billionaire. Most Tech fans, the dude who lives in Groesbeck with his wife and 2 kids, doesn't give a rat's ass about going to the ACC. He doesn't even know what this means. I think most Tech fans are like, yeah, we're a Big 12 school. We won 1 Big 12 title. This is home for us.
Well, I think you nailed it, man. They haven't done a whole lot, right? They kind of just arrived for all intents and purposes in the Big 12. Now that they have a solid footing, they're good at softball, they're good at football, they have a lot of success already in basketball. I think that they probably would want to win a few more conference titles or maybe win a couple national championships before anybody in Lubbock is exploring the idea of potentially leaving the Big 12. But you got to win first. You got to win convincingly. Like, as much as I hate to mention the school 71 miles south of us, they had won so many Big 12 titles in a row at one point in time that when they started flirting with the idea of going to the SEC, it kind of made sense. So, if Texas Tech is going to be the top team in the Big 12, they're going to win it again this year. If they do it again convincingly, then maybe you start having a somewhat conversation about them making an SEC move. But why would you make a less than lateral move to the ACC? I don't think Tech would do it, and I don't think their fans would want that either.
That's a downgrade.
Yeah. As the school is 70 miles south. 70. I don't know the exact mileage between Houston and UT Austin, but I would point out that outside of their final year in the Big 12, Texas actually had a less than impressive run. They had a national championship with Vince Young, and I mean that, but like they actually should have won a lot more. They have all the resources, right, and they didn't. And I think they're kind of the counterexample of that, Cody. And I would say more so the deal is Tech is a building brand, but is not. I mean, Drake has lived in Texas and I guess in Arkansas too. You probably saw plenty of burnt orange, right? Like burnt orange every year, and like I think that's the deal. Where it's like Tech hasn't quite gotten to that either. The ACC is, like I said, just kind of next. And frankly, like I guess Miami went pretty far last year, but I don't know that Tech really moves their needle a whole lot either. They're already in the state of Texas. Frankly, SMU made a playoff game too, as far as ACC stuff goes. I think this is, again, just like people, there are fans that feel like this is irreconcilable with the Big 12. And I think that's why the better conversation may be, Drake, like, is it possible to fix this relationship?
I don't think the relationship is that torn. I agree. I think that we, as the
actual
media,
relationship, you mean like the one between the actual school and the actual
between like Brett Yormark and Joey McGuire, Kirby Hoke. I think when they sit down in a room, they all know this whole thing was pretty stupid. Like they're human beings. I heard from one pretty prominent Big 12 source this week who's like, "Man, Tech is so happy to be done with Brendan Sorsby. Like, you have no idea. Like, they're so excited to just not have to deal with it, because if they didn't deal with it, they probably would have gotten sued themselves. They get stuck being like, okay, well, let's do a podcast, I guess, you guys. And ultimately, the whole thing.
How every great podcast starts.
Yeah, do it. 24-minute Kirby Hoke cut, Joey McGuire, and terribly edited with jump cuts, where we obviously had to take things out for PR reasons. But the general rhetoric between Joey McGuire and Brett Yormark at this point is not about the Sorsby deal. It's about, hey, have fun this football season. You know, they're past it. They have to be past it, because, and this is to defend Tech fans here, their scandal that they just went through is half the scandal that most schools deal with within a decade, within 2 decades. Michigan's gone through 7 of them in the last 3 weeks. I don't understand.
Ongoing right now.
Yeah, there are many scandals in college football and college athletics.
Several Michigan scandals, and hiring Mike Boynton might have been the worst call of all. I don't know. Yeah.
No,
nice guy. He's a nice guy. All right, it's a nice guy.
Great, good guy. That's why he's an assistant coach. He's a good guy.
So I think ultimately Texas Tech is fine with this. The question that I want to turn to now that we've talked Texas Tech is on Brett Yormark. Is he acting in the best interest of the Big 12? Does you feel like he represents you as a fan base? It's Locked On Big 12 Squad. Whoa. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I go during the soccer season, which couldn't be any bigger. You know what? I gotta shoot you straight. I'm going to tell you something. I don't love watching soccer, but FanDuel makes it awesome. And with the finals coming up this weekend, you bet I will be glued to that match. And FanDuel makes it so easy with one of these brand new ways to make money. On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is coming to you with a FanDuel super sub. Yeah, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. Your player leaves the match. Oh, he's gone. Great. The guy who comes in, he takes on your prop bet. Yeah, that's right. And you're in it until the final whistle. In matches like these, anything can happen, and now your bet can go the distance. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel. Nothing worse than having a great pick, going and watching your player get pulled in the 60th minute. But with Super Sub, that bet doesn't die. It's got the distance with the sub. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. That's FanDuel.com/LOCKEDON to get started now. FanDuel.com/LockedOn for more. Download that FanDuel app and do it today. So we've hit on tech here, and I think we're all in agreement of, it ultimately will pass us by. We'll forget about it, stop talking about it. Like, tech fans will calm down. They're not going to the ACC. Has Brett Yormark, from the monster deal to telling the reporter to stand up and speak clearly to even the LED court, is Brett Yormark the best let me say this, and I'm going to answer my own question here, and I'm going to give you fellas a chance, but I put it this way, and I want to get your thoughts on this way. Brett Yormark probably kills it in New York, walks into the boardroom, and they're like, yeah, this guy's got it going on. To your average 48-year-old in Manhattan, Kansas, you probably don't really vibe with Brett Yormark, and maybe that's why I think a lot of his words are falling flat on Big 12 fan bases.
I love Brett Yormark, but yeah, I'm sorry. He's done a couple things recently that kind of make you feel like he's a little bit out of touch. I appreciate him taking some swings, and you expect him to miss occasionally when he takes some swings. But, I still haven't heard from him a really good explanation for this whole monster ordeal. Yes, the future relationships could be great. But, it does kind of seem like he's lost a little bit of his momentum from when he first got into the league.
Well, I got to tell you guys, as someone coming out of the Pac-12, all right, let me tell you about Larry Scott. Yeah, Yormark, definitely he's eaten some crow recently. The Monster Energy deal, honestly, probably far more impactful for basketball recruiting than anything else. Doesn't really move the needle on football like at all. But coming from a conference where our commissioner had a deal with DirecTV and he killed it for his own kind of for unknown reasons, being part of a Power 5 conference that couldn't get nationally televised consistently. Yeah, okay, LED floor, getting people hurt. Sure, is he taking a little bit, maybe slightly like too Silicon Valley vibes to everything here? Drake, I know you said New York, but he's talking about like this being a mature startup and we're going to have all this cool tech stuff. Is that great? I honestly too soon to tell, but I will tell you it is a lot better. Oh, so much better than what we were dealing with in the Pac-12.
Yeah, so Houston's obviously new to the Big 12 and even the Power 4 party, right? So like that's like a little different perspective, I guess. I gotta say though, I think that the throwing the ball out there, see if you get a strike call is fine and dandy, so long as the next media deal in 2030-31 goes the right way, right? Like, I think we will all be kind of laughing at this if it does, and like, oh, remember when we had the LED court? Like, that was not, that's not such a big deal. Right. And then, frankly, if it doesn't, we're all gonna be pointing like, hey, it's because that stupid idiot had an LED floor. Like, it just that's going to dictate how we look at all of this, and whatever. No matter what happens,
Parker, the LED floor was pretty stupid. Like, that's all. Come on, there's no getting around it. That's pretty stupid.
The shame is,
I was mid post game recording when the tweet came out saying they're getting rid of it. Actually, like, what is happening?
Unfortunately, like conceptually, it was really cool. You saw the fun act, like the cool stuff they were doing with it, and then it was this boring as anything conference, and
the cool stuff was like the animation during a dunk. Like,
the women will suffer. We will force them to play on the glass. And the men's tournament got deep, and they're like, all right, hold on.
Real too many injuries. Fair enough. Yeah,
it's crazy.
But he may be taking things, a little bit too far sometimes. But nonetheless, he's way better than Bob Oglesby.
That's Cody and I were here for Bob. Cody and I remember Bob, and it was not great.
Low-key, Bob might have done me a job, though, by pulling in Houston. Does Locked On Cougs exist if there is no Houston edition, right? I can't guarantee that. And I think that as far as looking at Brett goes, though, I really think if he nails the next big TV deal, because it'll be before the ACC can hit, and it'll be a chance to separate yourself from that league and all those things, I think that we'll be like, oh, my God, this guy's been working towards this whole time. This is great. And if it doesn't, everything's a failure. Everything has been leading. Like, you should have got more money then. You should have got more. Like, that's going to shape the entire conversation.
No.
Other than not building rivalries, the glass floor and the monster thing is really the only outliers. Other than I didn't love the "we're a startup" comment. I thought that was a little odd and a little disrespectful for a conference that has been around since the 90s. But this iteration of it, by the way, it's been around since 96. So I didn't necessarily love that. But again, at the end of the day, I do still think Brett Yormark is an upgrade over Bob Bowlesby. I do think that he does love the brand of the Big 12, and I think that he's trying everything he can to get the brand, bigger, more recognizable. Because if the glass floor thing would have worked, right, if it would have been seamless and it wouldn't have prevented or wouldn't have caused injuries, then maybe other places adopt it and he looks like a genius. The monster thing, the money side of it, it's pretty terrible now, but maybe 3 years from now, Monster redoes this deal and it's so massive that we're all talking about Brett Yormark being the best conference commissioner in the country.
I think there's a chance to look at the monster thing as like, we all got a free $1 million. And like, I said this last week. I had someone text me that one of my competitors said the exact same comment about 4 days later, which is funny to me. If he'd had an actual patch or some mock-up of what a patch could look like, he could have avoided all it still would have been a ton of press and would have been a lot of avoiding the negative press, just by having a simple, like, hey, here's one idea. And if it were as minimal as people seem to be hinting at, I don't think anyone would have cared. It would have been $3 million.
I was definitely afraid of everything being green, like we were going to put that green logo all over the place. So now that I know that it's going to be, implemented into the Big 12 patch, I feel a little bit better about it, at least matching the jerseys. So it won't be an eyesore.
Yeah, and then, I know that recency is king, and we're all talking about the media day and, the dumb comments and whatever. But I actually really liked how he handled the whole Sorsby scenario. I mean, that had a chance to really blow up the Big 12. That had a chance to shatter the conference if handled really poorly. And instead he comes out of it. Yeah, Texas Tech is mad. Sure. Okay, whatever. They were in the wrong here. I think any rational person knows they were in the wrong on trying to get Sorsby to play. But you come out of this as, from a contractual perspective, one of the strongest conferences around. You can say, look, we enforce our rules. We are a strong conference here. Everyone comes together to make this happen. And that's not something that a lot of other conferences can necessarily pin their hat on. That makes you stable if you're trying to go and bring in more media deals, do other things. You can say, we as a conference are a stable business entity and we can make things happen.
And that was what was best for the conference.
Yeah, the SEC is crooked, and they know they're crooked. They're admitting that. The Big 12 saying we're going to do the right thing, and 15 fan bases agree. Texas Tech be damned, 15 agreed, and I think some Tech fans are reasonable enough to be like, yeah, kid messed up pretty big. We should probably punish him. The accountability is not dead in Texas, right? There are enough people who are like, oh, okay.
Well, and again, Greg, going back to the Bob Bowlesby thing, why did the Big 12 get so crazy? Because Bob Bowlesby kept allowing Texas to get bigger percentages and have more rights and have their own TV. He allowed Texas to bully everybody else. And OU was a big enough brand that they kind of got to go along for the ride. But Texas bullied Bob Bowlesby, and they put a large portion of the Big 12 out of, kind of alienation. And this is something that Brett Yormark did not do. He backed the Big 12. I think it sets the right precedence moving forward. And so it's not all bad from Brett.
Yeah, the big thing that sticks out to me is how he handled BYU in the playoff. Well, the ACC was posting second grader made graphics. They were posting, graphic design is my passion. Let Duke in, let Miami in, rah! And the Big 12 was radio silent on the whole deal until midnight. And ultimately, the nation wasn't talking about BYU. No one really cared they got left out, and that was insane. They won 11. They went 11-1 in the regular season.
They only lost to one school. Yeah. They lost to one school. They lost to one twice. They lost to one school.
But it was stunning. And they were on the graphic. They were in the final graphic. The whole thing, after their coach specifically said, we just don't even let us in. Just put us on the graphic. And they didn't even do that. It was stunning how that happened to BYU, and Brett Yormark was silent on the issue. I do think that the Big 12 can improve. Brett Yormark can improve. But overall, it sounds like a good grade. Like we're happy enough with what Brett Yormark has done for the Big 12 and ultimately enjoy him being at the forefront of the conference. When we come back, quarterback, people are calling the Big 12 this is another bang up quarterback class. And head coaches be damned, a lot of new blood in this league. And I think that one new head coach stole the show, Big 12 Media Days. This is Locked On Dose Grande Squad. Parker, you were at Big 12 Media Days. I love Eric Morris.
So does everyone there. Really popular as far as getting people, people wanted to talk to Eric. We joked last year that Drake and I were 2 of 4 people that wanted to talk to Willie, and he goes wandering around at one point. And this year, I would say Willie was more popular. Winning 10 games does that. For a first-year head coach, Eric Morris is a very popular guy to get.
Which, to be fair, by the way, I think Willie talked to us. I think Willie came up to us like, "Hey, y'all, I'm Willie."
I did seek out Willie. He might have talked to Drake. And then like John Kurtz is like from Kansas or something. But I think that Cody's guy, Eric Morris, was very popular. He's also very well known because the Big 12 Media Days happens in Dallas or Frisco, and he coached at North Texas, right? And I have to say, like, he and Drew Messmaker can kind of walk through a room and talk the talk. I'm interested to hear what Cody has to say about that. I think Oklahoma State's going to score 1,000 points this season. I think they'll score a lot of points. I don't know that it means they win 10 games, but I think they're going to score 1,000. They're going to score a lot of points.
If I can, for Philip, to back Philip up, he sounds a little like when Dillingham first got to Arizona State. It had this kind of brash, like, whoa, like this dude means business. He's like, some coaches, you can't win the room in the press conference. Another Morris, Chad Morris at Arkansas, was that guy. He had a bunch of like one-liners, and the state was like, yeah, come on now, pigs. And he fell flat on his face. You can tell Dillingham, he can back it up. I think Morris reminds me a lot of that.
Although, you give a good example. For every guy that comes in and wins on the podium, Kenny absolutely did. He has this great Arizona State history. You have the Herm Edwards of the world. Won on the podium in an extreme way. He was talking about, in the offense at 3 a.m. and nobody loves more football than him. And, he's got this awesome recruiting track from coaching the high school All-Americans every year. And he destroyed our program. He left Kenny with these dregs of a team that, won 4 games year one, and he had to fully rebuild. So I'm with you. Eric Morris sounded great. He's probably also the single most interesting storyline of the Big 12 this year. I mean, we can all talk about like Texas Tech and they have their $50 million roster and his big. No, you got this team that destroyed last year, University of North Texas. He's got most of the offensive tools coming back. He talks the talk. Can he do it in a Power 4 conference? That is probably the single most interesting question that exists in the Big 12 this year.
I think Drew Messmaker, the same way Cam Ward did, is going to adjust quickly to the Power 4 because he has the same coach as Cam Ward. Anybody? Like, that's probably going to help you out a little bit. Eric Morris, the North Texas man, who's now Oklahoma State guy. And with a quarterback like that, I was reading the Baylor Bears Sports Illustrated site did a top 10, I think they may have ranked all the Big 12 quarterbacks. Messmaker was one. Fafita was up there. Devin Dampier. I started thinking like Bear Bachmeier, Avery Johnson, DJ Lagway, Connor Wegman are kind of that 7-8 category for me. Then what? This conference just takes like a big question mark, not nosedive, but I don't know much about how Jaden Craig's going to perform, or Barnett, or Rayner, or Boley, JC French.
Hey, man. I know where Arizona State is locked in a bit of a quarterback battle right now.
Somebody's about to be biased here. Somebody's about to be biased.
Okay. Look, Fetty is like this incredible guy coming in. Cutter Boley was SEC all-freshman team. He was top 3 in completion percentage in the entire SEC last year. Yeah, he threw 12 interceptions. 4 of those were like in foregone games where he's just trying to make something happen. Oh, and by the way, 2020, I want to say it was 2023. 2 of the 6 Heisman candidates that year were both developed by Kenny Dillingham. He developed Bo Nix. He developed, who was number 16 in the Big 12 quarterback rankings preseason in 2024?
Was it Sam?
It was Sam Leavitt. He goes out of that season as a Heisman candidate.
Wow.
So I'm just telling you guys, On 3 had Cutter Boley ranked like, I think it was like 8th or 9th in their most recent article. I'm with you. Mestemacher's going to be great. Fafita is a 5-year. He's a stud. Yeah. But the whoever is starting at Arizona State, might be Boley. He looks great. Fetty looks incredible. Whoever that is going to be, they're going to be top 5 at least by the end of the season. I mean, the track record that Kenny Dillingham has with his quarterbacks, it's kind of beyond reproach. I mean, I do not know of another head coach that has a similar track record.
Yeah, notable Kenny Dillingham quarterback Jeff Sims, everyone's favorite guy, right? That's what we're talking about.
You mean our backup that
he
won the game against Iowa State, 450 all-purpose yards?
Yeah, Sims looked decent.
He just,
I think the funny about this conference, though, is like there does kind of feel like a top end with a lot of offense. And I mentioned, I think Cody's guys are going to score a lot of points. I think there's going to be a handful of teams that score like their season averages are fairly high. I don't know what you guys think about Will Hammond. I maintain had he never gotten hurt, they probably never go get Sorsby, right? Obviously, I'm very partial kind of way. We've been jumping that for 18 months now, but like he was a true dual threat guy. Oh, we have a 5-star behind him. Like we're fine. I think that there's a lot of offense at the top of this league. We're still kind of waiting for Avery Johnson to put it together. His best year though was that year where Klein was his OC, and now he's his head coach. Like things are putting together there. And our man Mike G, we come full circle here because he tells the good stories about with the Losey kid or whatever all the time at UCF. So I want to hear from Cody though, because Eric Morris is really popular and they are going to score a lot of points, and Messmaker is really good. How high is too high for the hype right now, man? Because like it is year one, and like you don't want to like be disappointed with a good season. That'd be kind of crappy, right?
Yeah, I think 8 to 9 wins is still kind of the barometer of success that everybody's looking at. But Yahoo just did an article about how they believe the CBS article about getting Oklahoma State to 9 wins. And Eric Morris, right? He is kind of the fun, trendy, sexy new coach that everybody wants to get eyeballs on. But I view it almost as a litmus test or street cred test. Everything that he's done since he got the job at Oklahoma State was like checking a box. Okay, well, he got the job, but can he bring Messmaker and Hawkins and Young and all of the talent with him? Check. Yeah, he did. Can he bring all of the coaches and the general manager? Check. Yeah, he did. Okay, well, can he, solidify this team with the transfer portal class? I think he definitely did that. Now the question is, well, can he, get up on the microphone and present Oklahoma State the right way? He definitely did that. So there's only one thing left for Eric Morris to do, and that is to get a couple W's. And ladies and gentlemen, all we have to do against Oregon is to keep it close. Let's call a spade a spade. We lost by 66 last year, right? So if we lose by 10 to Oregon, then I do think Oklahoma State is answering those questions, as is Eric Morris. A lot of it is going to be, contingent upon how successful Drew Messmaker is. But in this quarterback-driven league, see, this is the excitement level, fellas, that we all have. We get to see, as Oklahoma State fans, is Drew Messmaker the real deal? The NFL scouts seem to think so. The people that do film analysis seem to think so. Eric Morris seems to think so. But hey, that's the only thing left. And I agree with you, Parker. We're going to score lots of points again. I don't know what the defense is going to look like. I don't know if we're going to have a defense on the field half the time. But offensively, yeah, we should be putting up 55, 60 points here now.
I like to imagine Parker is at Big 12 Media Days at the urinal. Pause. He's at the urinal, looks to the guy to his right, and he's like, "Hey, so having a good couple days? Which news station are you with?" He's like, "I'm Jaden Craig, the TCU quarterback." And it's just that's how Parker meets. Like,
you're joking, but I had almost that exact interaction. It wasn't at a urinal; it was at lunch a Colorado linebacker. No, the guy. So you mentioned Finch at Cincinnati. I don't know the guy can play quarterback at all. I have no idea. They certainly think he can.
Florida Southern kid, friend. Yeah.
He drove from Cincinnati to Media Days and pulled out his phone and was showing people. I was just standing near it. He went like boar hunting in Arkansas in the overnight on the drive in between. It was sick. It was gnarly.
I mean, isn't that like against your contract? I know NIL contracts are not the same, but Major League Baseball guys aren't allowed to ride ATVs in the offseason.
Do another scandal. I can't stop, please.
It might have been an old picture. But it was.
I can't imagine Cincinnati's happy with that, man.
Same haircut. Looked very recent.
I would like to say, Drake,
it was sick.
In the beginning of the show, Drake mentioned we'd find a way to squeeze UCF on here. I watched an interview earlier today of Alonzo Barnett, and he's been a little bit banged up, but I absolutely loved his verbiage when he talked about himself. Like, well, explain yourself as a football player. He said, "I'm the point guard out there. That's what I am." And I've never heard a quarterback call himself the point guard of a football team, but I absolutely loved it. And if you go back and look at what JMU did this previous season, a large portion of that was because of him. So I'm excited about UCF. I want to see what Barnett does because I just love that self analogy he gave.
It wouldn't be a Drake Toll show if we did mention BYU, and Bear Bachmeier is also very talented. And then Baylor is, I guess, Drake's alma mater. And DJ Lagway once upon I like DJ Lagway a lot in high school.
Me too. Obviously.
Obviously.
Connor Wegman, man, was one of those guys, like billion-star kid out of high school.
And Phillips always talking about Noah Fafita, so I makes sense.
They were passing out real deal flyers for his Heisman candidacy.
Oh, you mean the used car salesman resume?
The stats. It's this year's Heisman. The stats from the last year don't matter.
Well, no, even better. I don't know if you noticed, but the last line of like the achievements were the 2026. In 2026, he passed for 29 touchdowns. Parker, 2026 hasn't happened yet.
Wow, good. We're so back. That is Cody Stovall, Locked On Oklahoma State, Phil Moultrie, Locked On Sun Devils, Parker Ainsworth with Locked On Cougs. Thanks for giving us your first listen every single day. This has been, it always will be, Locked On, the Dose Grande Squad.